Well, I'm going to try to keep this somewhat short for you. If you've seen any of my other videos, you might know that this was my old rear sight. The elevator wasn't working for me, so I made this little brass thing. It kind of worked, but I couldn't adjust the elevation. So, I saw on my local classifieds a gentleman offering a Williams peep sight for $45.70. And so I called him up and went and took a look. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But what he did have was this Marlin rear leaf sight and elevator. And it works like a charm. I haven't shot it yet, but just feeling the difference, it seems like it's gonna work. Here's another look, different angle, the new Marlin sight. I'm trying to show you here that that front bead, factory bead on my Rossi fits really nice with that little groove. So it worked out rather well. I didn't get the Williams peep sight. I would have had to drilled and tapped holes on that side, and I just wasn't willing to do that. I do have a scope mount rail that came with it, but as you can see, it rides kind of high, and I really like the classic look and lines of just the leaf sight. Moving on from that, I was talking to the guy how I was going to start reloading, and he said, well, heck, you should have called me a month ago. I just sold all my reloading stuff. I was like, no way. Anyways, but he had a bunch of these bullets that he had loaded, and normally I wouldn't shoot a reload. These are all his reloads. But with the data he kept and how he labeled everything, he was a really trustworthy guy, and I'll show you what I got. So, looking here, this is the first bullet he gave me, or first set. His Marlin had a micro grooved barrel, and he could not shoot hard cast lead accurately. So he gave me what he had left from one of his loads. This is a 425 grain cast bullet. It's .459 in diameter, and it has 52 grains of H4895 powder, which he said out of his 18.5 inch guide gun chronoed 17 and change, so 1,700 feet per second. And then he had one factory loaded core bond, I spelled it wrong, 350 grain, that's jacketed. This was his hunting load. He has taken one deer, and he said it did quite a bit of damage, but he also took a grizzly bear with this jacketed 405. He told me the powder, I didn't write it down, but he had the load data in a notebook, and he told me what it chronoed at too. It was, I think, 16 something. It was close to 1,700 feet per second, so it's a pretty hefty load. And these ones, he said they're solid brass with a copper jacket. I think that's what he said. He said they're solid bullets. And he told me the load on that. Again, it was in his notebook. But I thought that was pretty wild. He gave me a couple to try to see if they work well in this gun. And he's going to look around through his loading stuff and find me any other brass or shells that he's not going to use. Here you can see I deprimed the brass I did have ready. And I'm going to shoot these bullets and see what works well with my gun. If the hard cast 425s or jacketed, whatever, you know, just to get a feel for it, and then purchase some bullets to start reloading, and I will keep you updated. Oh, and I got all this stuff, the sight and all the bullets, for $10. So I think I made out alright on that one.